Hello and welcome to another reading vlog. I still have Bluebell on my lap. It's Christmas morning today. I'm off to my family's Christmas. So my kids for the first time spent Christmas Eve with their dad this year. So they'll be coming over shortly and then we're all going together to our family's joined Christmas event because even though we're divorced, we still do it together. I will bring you along and show you all the yum food that we will no doubt be stuffing ourselves with. But let me tell you about some books I've already read. So here we have A Walk Through the Forest of Souls, A Tarot Journey to Spiritual Awakening. So this was making the rounds on TarotTube, and so I thought I'd give it a go when I saw it at my library. Hello. Hello, yeah. You want to say hello to everyone? This is the first time I've had the ring light on, so she's like, what's going on? This says that it's accessible to newcomers. I would disagree with that. I think if you're brand new to tarot, this probably isn't where I would lead you to start with. It's not so much about the meaning of the cards. Sorry, she's just so cute. As much as it is a very in-depth, dense history of the tarot and all of the other associated things with it. Like she goes into the Thoth, Kabbalah, religion. It's very in-depth and I can see why people like it. For me at this point in my tarot journey, I'm looking more for really fun, unique, alternative views on cards and how to interpret them rather than a history of the tarot itself. So that was this book. The next book that I read was The Friend, and I read half of this. Oh my goodness, no. And I put it down. So this book is about a woman whose mentor has died and she ends up adopting his dog. So it's written in her point of view. It's almost as if she's talking to her deceased mentor. It's very stream of consciousness. The first bit of the book was about her relationship with him. And this guy is a total fuckboy. He's just banging all of his students. The 19-year-olds are his favorite. He's like 50-something years old. It was gross. Cheating on all his wives. I don't know why this woman idolizes him. Didn't get the hype. And then the next part of it was based on writing because they were both writers. And honestly, this felt a bit, not so much meta, but a bit pretentious. That's just how I felt about it. Someone's running outside my window, Christmas morning. Well done, sir. And then the next bit was about the dog and dogs in general. And I can see that this book was trying to be emotional and deep, but the main character just feels so cold and so up herself that I did not connect to her. So I didn't feel any warmth or emotion in the book whatsoever. And then the part that really just went, okay, no, I'm jumping off this plane, was when she was talking about another author writing a book about their relationship with their dog that borders on bestiality. I'm not going to tell you what they did to their dog, but it's the kind of thing that you would unfortunately stumble across on Reddit and then want to like burn your eyes and vomit in a corner. Sickening. And I was like, thank you, lady. Thank you, Nunez, for searing this image into my brain. Did not want this, did not come here for this. I'm leaving now. And that's what I did. I DNF'd it halfway through the book. Sorry, my whole face is covered in cat fur. There is literally cat fur just floating around in the air and it's going all over me and it's driving me bonkers. So those are the two books I have read thus far. The next book that I'm picking up, it's kind of to use as eye bleach to completely like cleanse my spirit, is I think The Cat Who Taught Zen. So this is a book that's following Tiny Dragon Big Panda, which is a book that I gave 5 stars for its wholesomeness and just its feeling of a warm hug. That's how it made me feel. So I'm hoping this book will do the same for me. So that's what I have planned next. Right now I'm going to be going to my family's event, so I will take some footage there and see you the next time that I've finished a book. Hello guys, so today it is New Year's Eve. I've never been a New Year's Eve girly. Going out until midnight and being around a lot of drunk people isn't my thing. I'm definitely more of a New Year's Day picnic barbecue type of person. But today I am taking my kids out because things do close obviously over New Year's Day and the second day. And today we are going to the National Gallery of Victoria. This is an amazing gallery. They have free exhibits all year round. There are also paid exhibits, but during the school holidays, they also have a dedicated children's exhibit that is normally interactive. And it's just a lovely place. The gardens are beautiful. It's got a great vibe. And for an extra special treat, I've booked us into like their fancy restaurant. So we're going to be going and having a look, going to the restaurant. I'm also hoping to go to Camberwell Library today, continue on the library series for the Burundara libraries. And then in the evening, we have a New Year's Eve tradition where I have a list of questions that we answer every year and we look back on our previous year's answers. So that's always fun and the kids really enjoy it. V has decided that she wants to stay up till midnight and chat to her friends. So I'm like, yeah, sure, just stay in your room. And don't wake your sister and I up. That's absolutely fine. I cannot do it. If I stay up until midnight, that's a guaranteed flare up the next day, just guaranteed. So maybe in the future, who knows, when my health is like really robust, I can stay up with my teenage daughter. But at the moment I'm like, baby, so you're not gonna even remember this one. So no, mummy's going to bed at her usual time of 9:30 and yeah, I'll see you in the morning on New Year's Day. But I'll see you guys later. I have also read A River of Golden Bones. I'll just put the cover up here. I forgot to write this down in my book. It was just going on my Goodreads to start writing my reviews that I realized, oh, I read this one. So yeah, this is Sleeping Beauty, but with queer werewolves, I guess is how I would sum it up. You've got two sisters from a kingdom that was obliterated. They were in hiding and then they finally reach an age where they can come out of hiding. One of them is betrothed to a prince of another kingdom, but their younger sister, who is the protagonist in this book, is in love with him and he's in love with her and they want to be together, but her older sister was promised to him, even though her older sister likes women, but she will do what she must to be a broodmare to continue the line. Something happens though, and things don't go to plan and the roles end up being switched. So this was very heavy-handed on the foreshadowing, like so heavy-handed. I didn't like it, so I read I think 100 pages of it before I decided to DNF. I just was finding it cheesy. I was finding it very cliched, very run-of-the-mill, and I was not endeared to the FMC at all. I just really did not like her. It just set up all these tropes that are very tried and true, but it just felt like, I think this mentioned TikTok, it just felt like it was trying to hit all of the popular narratives, tropes, character setups, like all of those things to be a popular book. You know, when it's just like, it's too formulaic. It's lost its soul. It doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't feel individual. It just feels like a Frankenstein fantasy book based on what's been popular before. So yeah, I did DNF this one. It was not for me. These books I'm going to be adding into next year's count since I've decided to end this year's run on December 25th. So let me tell you about what I've read. I'm going to start with the Thursday Murder Club. I listened to 2 hours of this on audiobook. So the premise is you've got a group of elderly friends who get together to try and solve unsolved murders. And for me, with this one, the writing, the characters, the pacing, the plot just didn't work for me. I did not get into it. I was not engaged, and I just decided we're not the right fit. I know that so many people love this. It's a very, very popular book. I think pretty much these books are in every single year of Goodread awards. So just because it wasn't my jam doesn't mean it isn't yours. Before I go on to the other books, actually, I wanted to mention in my top 10 of 2023, I actually had a 10th, 5th 5-star book. I just totally forgot about it. So another 5-star book was Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, which is a contemporary romance. It's very much not a soft and fluffy one. It's a realistic look at how people perhaps with mental health conditions and trauma navigate romantic relationships, and I loved it. Abby Jimenez is now my favorite contemporary romance author, so I can't believe I forgot to put it in my top 10, but that was there. And also in my most anticipated reads for 2024, I am going to sub one of the books out. So I did put Bright Young Things in there because a lot of people loved it, but after doing some more reading on it, it seems to be very closely based on the victims of Ted Bundy, and it's a little too true crimes adjacent. I don't want to actually, those victims can't consent to having their story written about, and I just don't want to read it. So instead I'm subbing in The Fury by Alex Michaelides, or Michaelides, however they pronounce it. It's got a Greek eye on the cover. That just pretty much drew my attention, but I'm like, all right, it seems like a decent thriller. This author is one whose books tend to be very popular. Haven't read any of their other stories, so that's the one I'll be subbing in for my most anticipated reads. And because it's actually going to come into my library, so I tend to maneuver my TBR around based on what I can get my library to get or what they already have in. Then we've got Happy Couple. So Happy Couple, I DNF'd at 67 pages. So do read the blurb, because the blurb does sum it up. They say straight on the page that the male fiance is a serial cheater. Like, this is not my kind of romance. It's modern. It's very, it's a lot like Sally Rooney. It's giving Sally Rooney vibes, very much so. I found all of the characters that I was introduced to in this very unlikable. I didn't like any of them. It does have short chapters though. So yay for short chapters. I know it's purely psychological, but when chapters are short, I just enjoy the reading experience more, knowing I can stop after 5 pages. Let's do more short chapters. Personally, that's just my preference. Yeah, this was just not my kind of story. You know, I'm not rooting for anybody. I'm not hoping for love. And like, because the writing style did remind me of Sally Rooney and I just don't get along. So, but if you like Sally Rooney, you might like this. The next book I read was The Cat Who Taught Zen. I've decided to give this 4.75 stars. This reads like a fable about a cat who believes that they need to find solitude in order to find enlightenment, in order to be spiritually advanced. And then along the way realizes that engaging with other people, not only do they learn so much, but they also find a sense of purpose with teaching and helping others. It was very sweet, just like Big Panda, Tiny Dragon, but this, like I said, this one felt more like a fable, more like a linear story. The illustrations are beautiful, and it's just a very calm, peaceful book about Zen koans, and I enjoyed it. It was like a warm cup of tea, and it's definitely an author I would probably just read whatever they put out, even though I think some people might feel like it's very same, because like I said, it's based on the Buddhist philosophy, but I like Buddhist philosophy, so I can read plenty of those things. Okay, the next book I read was A Girl Called Corpse. So this is a middle grade book. I've given it, I don't rate these on Goodreads, but my personal rating would be a 3.5. This is a book that my daughter purchased at the book fair, caught her eye. I think this definitely skews younger, so I would recommend it for 8 to 12-year-olds. I don't think V, who's 12, would enjoy it. I think it's a bit too young for her. But this sort of reminds me of Hocus Pocus meets Corpse Bride. I would probably put those two together, and that's the story that you have. But you have a young girl ghost who has fashioned a body for herself made out of clay, and she lives with 3 absolutely horrible male witches on this rock that no one can find. Her best friend is a spider, And she used to have another ghost friend named Girl, but Girl disappeared. And she ends up going on this quest to find something that was taken from her that the witches also want. So they end up going over to the mainland, and it's a bit of a quest, a bit of a finding courage, finding family and friendship and belonging. So, and sort of knowing, realizing that the power was within you all along. It's sweet. It's very fast paced. The writing is very simple. That's why I think it would suit younger audiences. Look, there are tough themes like obviously the children were snatched and kidnapped from their families to be given to the witches and were killed. So it's got the dark vibes there, but it's not too dark. And the ghosts are lovely. For a spider, even though I am an arachnophobic, the spider was great and you're rooting for them, you know. So it was cute and sweet, but yeah, nothing amazing. So yeah, 3.5 stars for that one. I then listened to the audiobook The Dead Will Tell. So I know that this is meant to be like 6 in a series, but everyone said it could be read as a standalone. And I agree. You can get the feeling that there's backstory, but you don't really need to know it to listen to the story. I gave this 3 stars. And guys, I listened to this while crocheting a top. I do not recommend. Because now when I pick up that top, I remember the book. And I didn't like the book. So from now on, when I'm crocheting, I'm going to make sure to listen to more like non-thrillers, pretty much. Just not thrillers or horror, just something else. But I did give this 3 stars overall. But for me, okay, so you've got an Amish family who are brutally, violently murdered in the beginning of the book. There is one child survivor, and then it goes forward into the future, and then the killers involved are being murdered by what seems to be the ghost of one of the victims. So I thought it might have a supernatural element. It doesn't. I'm just going to put that out there because I probably wouldn't have read this one if I knew it actually didn't have a supernatural element to it. But the twist in this is just bonkers, man. It is just, it's too much. Like they were very ambitious in who the murderer was. And I'm like, there's too many things here that I'm just like, no one saw that. No one mentioned this when it was being mentioned previously. I can't talk about it, obviously, but there's some very yuck factors also involved that I don't like those topics. I really do need to read trigger warnings. I don't know why I keep forgetting to read trigger warnings, but yeah, like for once again, for my trigger warnings for me are animal abuse or death, pedophilia, and incest. I don't want to read about those 3 things in a thriller book. Like I can probably stomach them in fantasy, like Game of Thrones, incest, but I'm like, whatever, it's not a real world, it doesn't exist. There's a mental kind of like barrier between those. In a fantastical world, anything goes. I can stomach it because I just don't really, it doesn't feel real. In a contemporary setting, I don't want to be in that darkness. Chanel, read the trigger warnings on thrillers and horror books, please. But yeah, for me, it was just the thing at the end, who the killer was. I was like, oh my God, I could have done with not reading this book. Just no. The final book that I read for this week, oh yeah, I'm ending it on a high note. It's Hallowed Games. This is a fantasy book. I gave this 4.75 stars. I had a really good time, guys. So I woke up in the morning and I fed the cats and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to get back into bed. My kids aren't here. I don't actually have to start the day. I'm going to get back into bed and just read for an hour and then get up. I didn't get up. I read this all in one sitting. I could not put it down. So I'm just going to say, is this amazing writing? Is this phenomenal world building or complex characters? No, okay, no. This is a fun, sexy time. And I was giggling my ass off. So basically this is like a Hunger Games with witches and vampires. The FMC is just trying to survive and be a single mother hen to this other orphan that she's been taking care of. The MMC and the love interest, is he a soft boy? Yes. Does he fall hard and fast for the FMC? And is he an absolute fool for her? Yes. But in this is what I was obviously wanting. I was obviously in the mood for a very strong male love interest to become absolutely weak at the knees for a strong FMC who just uses him for her own survival and benefit. That's what I was in the mood for. Okay, so I was eating that up. What can I say? It's a spicy book as well. It's very delicious. I enjoyed the spice. It was fun. It's naughty. You know, it's yummy. Both of these characters have not been able to touch another person in many, 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 many years. So you can imagine the pent up sexual frustration and then the realization when both of them realize that they can touch each other, and then both of them fighting that, like, oh, I can touch this person, but I shouldn't because enemy. It's supposed to be enemies to lovers, but you know, it's more of the light enemies to lovers, you know, but then like, oh no, I shouldn't. I loved it. I haven't even talked about like the magic system and the world building. So in this world, people that have magic are considered serpent touched. So I'm getting like Lilith Eve vibes with that. And you have like a religious order who worships only one god and is, you know, will execute all those who are serpent touched, does periodic cleanses in villages, just killing and grabbing people. They give one of them the opportunity to live by competing in these games, and if they live, they then have their magic taken from them. The FMC's magic is death magic, so yes, if she touches anybody, instant death to that sucker. So in the meantime, she's been used as an assassin and a thief. And then the MMC is considered, oh my gosh, what was his name? He's like the Raven of Death. Well, you know, some sort of typical fantasy name for like the guy that goes and captures all of these magic people and everyone fears him because he's ruthless. He's a cold killer. No one ever escapes his clutches. You know, it's like I said, it's got a lot of tropes and themes and storylines you've seen before, but in this case, it just came together in a way that I had a really great time. I had a fun time. Rochelle, if you're watching this, maybe this might be up your alley. I'm not sure how much into fantasy you are, but yeah, look, like I said, fantasy and spice, all things nice. I had a good time. I'll probably check out some more of C. Crawford's books. I think I've read 2 previously and I gave them both 4 stars. So I'm like, why don't I check out more of this chick's lit, man? I will be going back and finding some others. I might just do like one of hers a week. I have a feeling she probably will end up being my most read author of 2024. But yeah, I just had a fun time with this. I really liked it. I feel like there's a possible love triangle coming up on the horizon, which I'm not a fan of. I'm just not a love triangle gal, but I'm sensing those vibes with another, you know, a hot, powerful man, but we'll see. I might read the second, I may not. This could definitely just be a standalone for me. I don't feel the need to continue on, but you know, I want to just have a good, happy, click my heels together, squeal with, you know, have my cheeks blush and red time. I'll pick it up. So those are the books for this first week of the new year. Let's all pretend. I'll see you until next time. Stay wild, Star Child.